Let me tell you, it's not a simple thing to keep a fanbase happy for a long time. Yeah, you might have your ups and downs like every single franchise does, but it's hard to keep a consistent and fun experience for everyone. Let it be casuals, let it be hardcore players, Call of Duty Zombies from the Treyarch team has actually managed to sort of do that. When Zombies first started, there was not much light onto it. It was just a bonus game mode that you got after finishing the game's campaign. But after a positive fan reception, it became something bigger of itself. With now over 30 maps to choose from, and expanding across 5 different games, it has also become the very reason to why a lot of people still buy Call of Duty. At least in my case, it's not so much about the multiplayer or the campaign, but it's about the zombies. For the great story it offers, for the mysteries it has to uncover, for its smart gameplay, for the incredible map designs, the characters, and much more. This game mode has managed to keep me and many others invested for over a decade. The closest massive phenomenon I can compare it to is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me tell you a story. The story of why Call of Duty Zombies was, and still sort of is, great. As I said before, what we call zombies was not supposed to be a big thing. It originally came to life in 2008 as a bonus game mode in Call of Duty World at War that you would get access to after finishing the campaign. After its success, however, Treyarch, which is the company that produces these COD games that include zombies, decided to keep on building upon this game mode, adding new maps in the form of downloadable content known as map packs. These new maps added features which expanded the gameplay to new heights and built the base of the zombies experience. But before we talk about that, let's see what the first zombie map was like. Toten. Toten can be defined as simple. You're set in a 2-story building with the objective of surviving the hordes of the undead for as long as you can. These hordes appear in the form of rounds, which become more difficult as the player progresses. There are doors you can open with points you get from killing zombies, and there are guns you can get with the same points. Simple. Just have fun and survive. What made this game mode successful was the challenge and competition it generated. Not anyone could get to a high round without practice or experience. But also, everyone could give it a try. It had the best of both worlds. Treyarch were smart enough to make the map and gameplay simple to welcome a new potential community, but also made it challenging by implementing the rounds concept, which, as I said before, made the game more difficult as the player progressed. This was only the beginning. After this, the next 3 new maps would keep on adding concepts that changed the gameplay completely. Zombie Verrucht brought the concept of the power, which had to be turned on, and by doing so would activate Perk A Cola machines. These Perk A Cola granted the player 4 different abilities depending on which one was bought. Juggernaut would increase the amount of damage a player could take up to 4 hits, Speed Cola would increase the reloading speed, Double Tap would double all the weapons' shooting speed, and finally, Quick Revive would halve the amount of time it took to revive other players. Also, another advantage provided by turning on the power was the use of traps, which aided the player in killing zombies. The map itself was bigger, and now there were different tactics to approach. The next map, Numa, spawned the famous Hellhounds or dogs. These dogs would appear every 5 rounds and drop a max ammo power-up once defeated. It's crazy to think that back in the day the community was still unexperienced and people actually had trouble getting past the dogs. As you can see in this video by the YouTuber called Ippy, he explains how to kill the dogs and get past them.
So at this point, this is where the dogs come. You want to pull your shotgun, and one well-landed shot doesn't even need to be a headshot, but one well-landed shot with your shotgun will kill the dogs. So as you see me doing there, you always want to aim down your sights.
Numa also brought the all-time classic and first wonder weapon, the Wonderwolf DG2, and introduced us to the 4 main characters that would accompany us for the rest of the zombie storyline till the very end: Richtofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takio. The last map released for World of War was Der Riese, which is considered to be one of the best zombie maps by many players. There was something special about Der Riese. Just like Nachtler and Toten, it was designed in a way that welcomed new players with its simple layout. But what's more important is that it welcomed now very experienced players and fanatics who had gotten a lot of practice and experience from the previous 3 maps. Introducing the concept of Pack-a-Punch and teleporters, the Riese had a whole new subplot to it. In comparison, once again to Nachtler and Toten, you could go into the Riese and have a chill short playthrough with your buddy. Or, you could go in and activate the power, drink old Coca-Colas, get the Wonder Weapon, get the Monkey Bombs, activate traps, get the Ray Gun, activate teleporters, which activates Pack-a-Punch your guns, save up more points, Pack-a-Punch the Wonder Weapon, camp at one spot, run away, pick another spot. All of this just for the challenge of survival. The game mode had grown beautifully, and players could not get enough. The cards were set. Now it was time for Treyarch to make their next play. Call of Duty Black Ops became the next game to be released under Treyarch's development. Alongside a fun campaign and boots on the ground multiplayer, Zombies returned. Our 4 main heroes now embarked on a new adventure in the map known as Kino der Toten, which also became a fan favorite due to its similarities with the Riese. This is the part where I, myself, appear in the story. Black Ops Zombies was my first experience with the game mode. I would go over my friend's house where we would play Black Ops, and once I tried Zombies, I was just hooked. After some time saving up money, I was able to purchase both World at War and Black Ops. Why World at War? Well, I heard it was the beginning of Zombies, and I wanted to get the most out of this experience. Okay, but what does this all mean? It means Treyarch was doing the right thing. It was attracting customers and increasing their sales. And in my case, it was all because of Zombies. But it takes more than just a fun game to keep me interested. Any piece of media must have a good story to tell for an audience to care about. So after watching gameplay videos on YouTube, I started to come across theories and timelines on the Nazi zombie story. Here, Group 935 comes into play, and the zombie story starts to come together. Group 935, according to in-game quotes that you could hear through radios, was a German scientific research group that experimented with a very advanced source of power known as Element 115. This number will be very important. Element 115 came to Earth in a meteor, and different countries began to use its source of power to create various things. The most known use of it was by Group 935 to create teleporters and weapons such as the Wunderwaffe DG2, and eventually, as a mistake, the first zombies. As you can see, a lot of details were being implemented, and most surprisingly is that a lot of these details were previously teased in older maps such as Shino Numa, where an Element 115 meteor can be seen in the distance, or as I said before, through in-game quotes in the Riese or Verrückt. Kino der Toten was no exception. New mysteries popped up. Now when a player traveled through the teleporter, they would surely visit 4 different locations. Samantha's room, a zombified version of Samantha's room, the Pentagon, and finally, a dentist room. You might be asking, who is Samantha? Well, Samantha was the daughter of Maxis, a German scientist that worked in Group 935, where he worked side along Richthofen. The Pentagon room, however, is a reference to the second map released with the standard version of Black Ops, 5. 5, in my opinion, was one of the worst maps to have come out. It was set in the Pentagon, and you would play as a group of politicians, including JFK and Fidel Castro. This map was only accessible after finishing the campaign, and at the time it seemed to have absolutely no relevance to the growing story whatsoever. The map itself was large and had a lot of tight corridors, which made it difficult, and for the first time a boss would appear known as the Pentagon Thief. He would steal your weapon. Really annoying guy. On the other hand, Kino der Toten gave us one of the best wonder weapons throughout the franchise, the Thunder Gun. And it also gave our 4 main heroes more character progression, letting the players familiarize with them even more, now adding custom hand models that resembled each character. Oh, I should also mention that in World at War, when selecting a map, you could read character bios that explain more about who they were. To simplify it, Nikolai was a drunk Russian killing machine, Takio was an honor-driven Japanese warrior, Richthofen a German mag doctor and scientist with a thirst for power, And finally, Dempsey was an American hero fighting for his country. They were all recruited by Richtofen to be test subjects with his experiments using Element 115. However, after the zombie outbreak, they had no choice but to fight the undead together while still following Richtofen's orders. Quite complex, and I won't dive too deep into it since I don't want to make it the main focus of the video, but I thought it would be interesting and needed to understand what makes this game mode great. The last thing I want to mention is that Richtofen, after being exposed to Element 115 for a long time, went mad and betrayed his partner Maxis, sending him via the teleporter to the crazy place, and his daughter Samantha to a pyramid on the moon. Little did Richtofen know that the pyramid on the moon where he sent Samantha allowed her to take control of the zombies, which explains why our four main heroes are constantly being chased by them. Wow. Okay. That's a lot to process. I just want to remind you once again that all of this information was gathered by fans through in-game quotes, loading screens, and Easter eggs. It was a beautiful process of mystery solving that brought the community even closer together. Alongside the rising popularity of social media, people could share their findings and progress easier than ever before to a growing community. It was stated by Jason Blundell, lead of the Zombies developing team, that they tried to leave hints of a story every now and then, but it was the fans who really built the story and made sense of it. Another bond was created, and people only didn't get the game to play it, but also to be a part of this mystery that was being solved. It was an Easter egg hunt. February 1st, 2011. The day had arrived. Black Ops released their first map pack and with it, a new zombie map, Ascension. Little did the community know how much this map would change the zombies' experience. It added a feature that, in my opinion, perfected the zombie game mode. I'm talking about the Easter egg. Not just a little Easter egg or a reference in the map. I'm talking about a main Easter egg that the players had to complete step by step, and at the same time tied into the overall story. This type of Easter egg, known as main Easter eggs, would appear in every map from now on. Ascension's Easter egg went a little bit like this. All players had to obtain ray guns and one of them a thunder gun. Gurge devices, which were portal-like monkey bombs, had to be obtained as well. They all had to be pack-a-punched. A Gurge device had to be thrown at a generator outside the map, and by doing so, a man would speak to you, asking for help. It was now your mission to help that man. All players had to simultaneously hit 4 different buttons during a monkey round. To be clear, the monkey rounds worked in a similar way to dog rounds, but with monkeys. Stand still in front of a clock in your pack-a-punch until it reaches 12. Use the fast travel lunar landers and spell the word Luna by collecting Russian letters scattered across the sky. Throw another Gurge device and immediately start shooting it with the weapons I mentioned at the beginning. This is to charge it. Once fully charged, a beam would shoot up to the sky, and all players would receive death machines and an audio cue, which indicated that the Easter egg had been completed. The crazy part is that all of that was found by fans and players through trial and error and endless hours of searching around the map. This statement will apply to all of the Easter eggs. The next maps released, Call of the Dead, Shangri-La, and Moon, all follow the same formula, slightly increasing their difficulty and becoming more complex, so that players had to try harder in order to figure out the steps. The rewards would vary, however. For example, some maps would reward the players with all perks in the map, or even a Wonder Wolf in Call of the Dead. Now, to me, the reason why Easter eggs became so popular and crucial was because of 3 reasons. 1. There was a sense of completion to the map upon finishing an Easter egg that in a normal match you would never get, since the zombie game mode is meant to go on indefinitely. The catch is that you have to be a skilled player to be able to complete and live the Easter egg in your own game. This encourages players to not only survive and squeeze out all the content available in the map, but also finish or end the match in a way. And by completing the Easter egg, a big part of the story was unveiled. You completed the story that one map had to tell. Map by map, the bigger picture became clearer. Number 2, as I said before, the hunt for clues and steps pulled the community closer together. You could have been one of the lucky ones to find something strange in a map, and by sharing it through social media, others would build upon your findings and vice versa. It was like a huge puzzle where everyone could participate. Here, experienced players like Mr. Dalek JD would begin their careers as zombie YouTubers, being some of the first to explain how to complete the Easter eggs. And number 3, in my case, what made me love the Easter eggs was the challenge and the way it felt like watching a movie. Completing the steps was satisfying, and seeing parts of the map change or new objects appear was enthralling. Depending on the map, strategies developed and became an art of itself. Shooting zombies 8 times on their legs, then knifing them was, for example, a classic way to squeeze out the most points possible during the first round, which helped you prepare for the Easter egg. Each person had their own routine that would organize their playstyle and aid their choice making. Everyone could perfect their own way of playing and win. To finish this chapter, I'll quickly go through the Black Ops 1 map storyline discovered through Easter eggs. Alright, so, our 4 main heroes, who we will now call Ultimates, travel from der Riese to Kino der Toten. They are following Richtofen's orders in order to reach the moon, so that Richtofen can take control of the zombies instead of Samantha. Next stop is Ascension, a Russian-based map in a rocket facility. Ultimates now help a scientist escape Samantha's terror, and after overloading the Gersh device, they're sent way into the future to Call of the Dead. Here, George Romero, who is the actual creator of zombies in real life, is filming his new movie named like the map, Call of the Dead. Ultimates gets trapped in a basement near the set, and the cast must help them escape. After escaping, they're sent to Shangri-La, where they obtain a piece of a 115 meteor. And finally, they arrive to Nevada in the USA, where they teleport to the moon. Richtofen is able to transfer bodies with Samantha and takes control of the zombies. However, his power is weakened after Samantha, with the help of a computerized Maxis, blows up the Earth. This seemed like the finale of the zombie saga. For a lot of people, the real zombie story ends here. Black Ops delivered 5 awesome maps, and Treyarch's development strategy in the game mode had definitely matured. However, they knew that zombies still had a lot of potential to carry on. Things were quiet. No one really knew where zombies would go to next. I mean, Ultimates were trapped on the moon, Richtofen had succeeded, and the Earth was in pieces. Very little info when Treyarch's next game was released. Then, near the end of April 2012, a change was made to the official COD website confirming a world reveal for a new game. The hype had commenced. The reveal would take place on the 1st of May and Black Ops 2 was announced. However, no zombie details were revealed. Fast forward to September, and fans finally got what they had been waiting for. An official Zombies trailer. And oh boy, did it look fun as hell. Somehow it surpassed everyone's expectations. The new map included a bus that players traveled on, different locations, returning features, some sort of leveling system, and a new wonder weapon. Fans lost their minds. The only thing that quite didn't settle with the community was the addition of 4 new characters who were not the Ultimates crew. Russman, Misty, Stuhlinger, and Marlton were now the playable characters. Odd but not new, since some previous maps had also used different characters, but the thing is those maps were not really good. Anyways, hype was real, and as always, some people got their hands on the game way earlier and leaked footage of the first map, TranZit. I watched a bit, but not too much, to not get spoiled. But every day, I waited and waited and waited. A day before release, I received a little message from my friend, letting me know he had received his copy early. Yep, my friend somehow got it a day before release. I rushed to his house and I was able to finally try Black Ops 2. How was it? Well, not bad. I mean, it was awesome at the time since I waited for quite a while. But as time went on, things calmed down and something was a bit off. Yeah, I came to realize that TranZit was not the best map or a very good map to say the least. It was clear that Treyarch took a big leap designing the gameplay and had the intent of trying out new things that made the game mode more complex. Let's first go over the good features, to give it some credit. It was the first map to have buildables, meaning that pieces scattered around the map could be used to make these buildables that helped throughout the match, such as the very much loved shield. It also had a bank or storage concept in which you could deposit points or weapons you earned in a match and be able to pick them up in a different match. It was sort of like a checkpoint mechanic. There was also the Nectar and Toten building that you could explore as a tribute, and the Pack-a-Punch system took a new turn as well by letting you Pack-a-Punch multiple times. This was something fans wanted for a long time. And, that's it I think. Okay, now to the bad stuff. First of all, the buildable system sucked. You could only carry one piece at a time, meaning that you had to choose what to carry at times. There was only two good buildables, which were the shield and the electricity turbine. However, you could only carry one of those as well. It becomes so annoying when you need both buildables to do something, but you can only carry one. They also broke fairly quickly, which meant you had to go all the way back to where you built it and get a new one. Now add up the fact that TranZit was the biggest map to have been released, and you end up having to run around for fucking forever. Also, if you go down, you drop the part you were carrying. But what about the bus? Can't you use the bus to get around the whole map? Well, yeah, but not really, because the bus is faster than running, but less convenient, because it doesn't always wait for you. Most times you're doing something important in one spot, and you hear the damn bus horn, and if you don't get on, you're stuck there until it comes back. Why don't you just follow it then? Well, because the route that the bus takes is covered in fog, meaning you can't really see where you're going. Oh, and also, inside the fog, there's little zombie creatures that spawn and attack your face, slowing you down. If you want to run without being interrupted, you have to turn around and shoot the creatures every 2 seconds, and God have mercy on your soul, you don't run out of ammo or accidentally shoot a zombie, thus starting a new round in the middle of the fog. There was also a new perk added called Tombstone, which spawned a tombstone once you died that could be picked up and would make you recover all your inventory, including perks. Sounds good on paper, wasn't too good in action since it was already sort of useful when playing with others. Notice how it didn't mention the wonder weapon as a good feature previously? Hold on to your seats, because it gets much worse. The wonder weapon itself was a buildable. Okay, not such a bad idea. Later maps implemented the same concept and worked just fine. The problem with that? As I said, you could only carry one buildable piece at a time. The shield, for example, consisted of 3 pieces, and those pieces could be found near the same location around the diner. Awesome! The pieces for the wonder weapon, however, were not in the same area. Instead, they were scattered around the entire map. Yes, the entire map. And it wasn't just 3 pieces, it was 4 pieces to collect. And to get to the location of those pieces, you had to run through the fog like a maniac, grab one piece, take it all the way back into town, place that part in the building bench, and repeat it for the 3 other parts. Once you go through that hassle, you were able to use the Great Jet Gun. But not for too long, because it overheats in less than 10 seconds. Oh, and if it gets too hot, it just explodes, and you have to build it again. Oh, and just so you know, you don't get any points while using it. And you must have it on your hands for it to cool down. You can't switch guns and let it cool, no, you have to carry it for like 30 seconds or something. Okay, cool. Moving on, the characters turned out to be, in my opinion, quite disappointing, except for Misty, who was quite badass. Marlton was just a whining nerd, Russman was a senile con man, and Stuhlinger was a zombie flesh eater. Yeah, he ate zombie flesh. According to him, eating it made you immune to the zombie disease. What it really did, however, was allowing Richtofen to telepathically communicate with him. More on that later. The characters felt a bit random, and they were just regular people, except for Stuhlinger, who could talk to Richtofen. They felt lazily put together in comparison to the Ultimus crew, who all had a backstory established. Another huge insult was getting to Pack-a-Punch. To do so, you had to place a turbine next to a door in the power room with a green arrow, and then travel to town and blow up 2 doors with grenades. What? If your turbine was still not broken, remember how I said they broke fairly quickly, then you'd get access to Pack-a-Punch, right? Well, not really, since first you have to build it. I didn't know this when replaying the map not too long ago, and I am sure you know how happy I was to go down because I couldn't find the freaking Pack-a-Punch pieces. Also, just look at the map's color palette, it's so ugly. Who thought this was a good idea? Honestly, I could go on about the bad aspects of TranZit, but let's see how this all came to be story-wise. I want to thank the user on Reddit, WhoCares1909, for providing a clear timeline of the zombie story. It really helped me organize all these crazy concepts. Okay, so, after the rockets blew up the Earth, a group of survivors gathered in the TranZit bus stop, and the name given to those survivors is Victis. Here, Maxis and Richtofen fight for Victis' help in order to gain control. Because of this, 2-way Easter eggs were implemented in which players could either help Maxis or Richtofen by completing different objectives. Canonically, helping Maxis was the right decision. People were still skeptical about this, and most just enjoyed playing regular zombies on maps such as Town, which were parts of TranZit closed to act off as a single map. Oh, and there was also a Nuketown Zombies map, which I literally forgot about because of how dull it was. Now, as Tim Hansen says in one of his videos, the first map pack is a way to redeem a bad launch, and Treyarch was meant to do so with Black Ops 2. But it didn't really go that way. The next map released, Die Rised, failed in the same areas that TranZit did. The buildable system was not improved, the map was confusing again, the perks were really annoying to find, and a new bad perk was introduced called Who's Who, which worked like Tombstone, but instead you had a chance to revive yourself or some stupid thing like that. Good on paper, I guess, but terrible in action. And finally, the 2-way Easter egg returned, being as uninteresting as the one in TranZit. Alright, God, let's just move on from here. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let me just say that at least Treyarch learned their lesson, and I promise you that with their next map released, they really accomplished something special.